What's happening, everybody? Say hello to Isaiah Thomas, as I will. This is Toyota Voices with Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah, we appreciate you taking the time. The team just got done practicing a little bit ago, and I have to expect that it was probably mostly a film day today. Is that accurate?
It was just trying to figure out what we made mistakes on last night and build from that. And you know, sometimes you need those days where you're not on the court as much, where you see what you can get better at, and we did that today.
All right, now, I'm Mike, by the way. You already know him. So the way this works is you guys have submitted a bunch of questions on social media in various places, and we will get to as many of those as we can with Isaiah. And Isaiah, we're going to start with number one from James Tate. Suiting up together, of course, by the way, the Lakers and Toyota have been for 41 plus years. That's a long time. That's older than both of us. How did you learn to block out those who told you were not tall enough to play in the NBA? I'm not sure if you ever heard this question before. How did you become such a fighter? James would like to know.
I think it just started at a young age. I mean, always being the smallest guy on the floor and always being counted out. So every level that I played at, it was always, well, he's good, but he's too small. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think I just used that as motivation every step of the way, whether it be in middle school, high school, college, and then when I got to the pros, it was just something that I continue to use as motivation to show people that I'm just as good as the next guy that's taller than me. So that's all it was.
The one thing that's good about sports in that context too is that you can kind of use that message for any part of life, right?
Yes.
And is that something that you've thought about and talked about before? And I know you talk to kids a lot.
For sure. I mean, for me, I want to just be an inspiration for the next generation. Because guys like Allen Iverson and the small guys before me did the same thing for me. And I just want to show that the kids that you can be anything you want in life. If you put your mind to it, you continue to work hard and have faith in yourself. And I think that'll take you a long way. And I'm a living example of that. I mean, I'm not supposed to be where I am today. And a lot of guys my height don't make it to the level that I've made it at. But through hard work and dedication, I got to achieve the goals that I set aside for myself.
All right, so you mentioned that some of the other guys that came before you, and you think of Seattle, and you think in part of Nate Robinson, Jamal Crawford. How connected are all you guys that come out of that area?
It's a brotherhood. I mean, everybody is connected in that neighborhood. Is Jamal, Jason Terry, Doug Christie was one of the first guys to make it out. Brandon Roy, which retired early due to injury, but was also a special talent. And then you got other guys like Martell Webster, Spencer Haas, DeJounte Murray that plays for the Spurs right now. Zach LaVine, like the list goes on. We have a lot of guys that for the most importantly, the older guys always told us when we did make it, look out for the next guy coming up. And that's what we've done, and that's what the guys in that area has took to heart and always looked out for the next one.
It's interesting, too, because I think about Brandon Ingram, and he grew up right in the same town that Jerry Stackhouse grew up in. And sometimes when you just have that one example of somebody who actually made it from your place, maybe that it just leads to a little bit more of a belief or a path, and then the connectedness can continue once you actually start to get connected. But who was the first one of those guys that you actually started to speak to?
Jason Terry. I mean, he was a guy, his dad actually coached me from 4th to 8th grade. So I've known Jason since I was really young, and he was a guy that brought me under his wing. And then also Jamal Crawford. Those are two of my mentors, two of my best friends that I talk to each and every day to this day, and two guys that I really look up to. And when I was able to be introduced to those guys and see how they take care of themselves, see how they carry themselves, it made my dream be that much more reachable. Seeing them each and every day, being able to communicate with them and learn things from them, it made me really believe, okay, if these guys made it and they're from the same neck of the woods as me, I definitely can make it. So I mean, that's the only thing that we try to do up in the Northwest is make it a realistic goal for these other kids to make it, if that is their ultimate goal, is to make it to the NBA.
Got you. All right, let's get back to a couple more questions for you, Isaiah. How about Giuseppe from Italy? He says, first of all, I want to express my admiration for your effort. Question, how do you find the right balance between taking shots and playing within the flow of the Lakers offense that is based on ball movement and equal opportunity? Thanks, from Italy.
I think he said it right there, equal opportunity. I mean, I know when I got traded to this team, Coach, like, we want you to be who you are, and that's a scorer and a playmaker, and we don't want to take that from you. So I think, I mean, as being a playmaker my whole life, you got to pick and choose when to be aggressive and when to look for your shot, but also get others involved. And it's hard coming to a new situation and being in a new system, but these guys have made it easy for me. The players, the coaching staff has all said, we want to put the ball in your hands and make plays. And that's what I'm trying to do to the best of my ability. And that's all I can do, is be who I am and be the best Isaiah Thomas I could possibly be.
A couple people were asking about just Luke Walton, and you've played for several coaches now in the NBA. I'm just wondering your first impressions of Luke.
He's a hell of a coach. He's definitely a player's coach. A guy that's played the game of basketball at the highest level, won championships, and knows what it takes to be a really good basketball player in this league. And it's easy to play for him because he just wants you to play hard. He wants you to play hard and do what you do best and bring whatever you bring to this team and do it to the best of your ability. And for me, he doesn't say too much to me. He just says go out there and make plays. And I try to do that to the best of my ability. But coaching as a whole, he's definitely a player's coach and somebody you can always talk to about whatever it is you have problems with or whatever it is you want to get better at.
Isaiah, let's go to Sophia Syed, who asks, and this is, of course, a classic. You can do this on Saturday. Who are your top 5 favorite players of all time? What's your list?
My list.
And this doesn't have to be best, but just your favorite. Like
my
your
favorite,
guys.
I'll say Allen Iverson first and foremost, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. That's Kevin Garnett, and the 5th one, I say Shaquille O'Neal because he was the most dominant player ever.
That's a pretty good 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Allen Iverson, Devin Parikh asks, who would win in a one-on-one battle, you or Allen Iverson?
I'm definitely going to say myself. I feel like nobody in the world could stop me one-on-one, and I know he feels that way too. So we always have talks about it, who would beat who, and I put money on myself.
You got to have that self-confidence,
got
right?
to.
But all right, but let me just play this out though. So if you have any guard, okay, not just yourself, and you're going one-on-one against say LeBron, how can you just physically keep him from the whole post up, getting the what's the actual way that when you play guys that are like the bully ball that want to just take a guard down in the post in a one-on-one type? What's your way to play that?
For me, I'm strong, and I always thought the lowest man always wins. If he makes a shot over me, he does, but he got to play defense too. So he got to be able to stop me as well. But I just give him all. I do everything I can to try to contain him and try to stop him. But like I always say, they got to play defense as well. So they got to figure out how to stop me. Is there an NBA one-on-one matchup that you had in practice that was the most fun, or a guy that you went at it more often than anybody else over the years? Probably when I was in Phoenix. Playing with, 2 other really good guards, in Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe. So every day was definitely competitive, and every day was something different. But those was probably the more competitive days. We got a lot out of each other.
What do you usually play to? Or is it more just going, you
just
keep scoring?
Yeah. We just go at it.
Yeah.
We just go at it.
Yeah. Keep a mental tally.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, T. Gims from Gig Harbor. Love your 253 tattoo. What's your favorite memory of the Tacoma Dome?
My favorite memory, Tacoma Dome. The state tournament in high school is played at the Tacoma Dome, and I've had some pretty good games in there. So my favorite memory is just being able to compete at the state tournament in front of friends and family and all the people that come out and watch and have fun.
Tacoma is just outside of Seattle?
Yeah, it's south. It's about 35 minutes south of Seattle. So it's a special place in my heart.
Yeah, how often do you get back up?
I live out that way in the off season though. I don't live in Tacoma, but I live towards Seattle, so I'm always in Tacoma spending time with family, seeing my parents and things like that.
Gotcha, that's the spot. Okay, Lake Show _EB would like to know, who is your favorite new teammate so far, and have Zoe and Kuz started roasting you yet? Favorite teammate, probably Tyler Ennis. I played with him in Phoenix, so we've had we're familiar with each other, but no, they haven't. They know to stay away from me. So they be on everybody else, but they know to stay away from me. Just intrinsically, they could just tell when you. Yeah, they know who not to mess with. So. All right, They do like to go at it, and it's even sometimes on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now, them being you're still a young man. Okay. What are you, 29?
Yes.
Okay. But there's a difference between 29 and 20,
Mm-hmm.
which Lonzo was, and Kuzma's 22. I want to say. Do you notice that like do they have to communicate on their phones half the time? Or
Oh yeah, the whole time. That's
okay.
all they do. That's all they do is crack jokes and Instagram and Snapchat. So, I mean, I'm not that much older than them. I do the same things, but they're on it all day, all night. They're always joking, always cracking jokes on each and everybody. So it's all fun and games, though. It makes you stay young.
Channing, I think one of the first things that I asked Channing Frye about was just the young guys in the team and what he thought of the chemistry and such. And he said his opinion. It was a much tighter team than many he had seen. I wondered if you have had a chance to take that in yet, and what that means. Even how important is it to have the guys that are on the same page and that like being around each other?
I think it's very important, especially at a young age. I've been on a young team before when I was in Sacramento and also in Boston, and Sacramento was a little different than Boston. Boston, we were real close, so this is real familiar with when I first got traded to Boston, how close the young guys were, and guys are always trying to spend time with each other, whether it be working out together or on the road and going to dinner and things like that. So that's always good. That makes it easier when you're on the court. When you can spend time with guys off the court, I think it makes it a lot easier to collaborate on the court and be able to figure guys out and what they like to do on the court.
Got you. All right, a couple more here. Here's Chris Tiller. Isaiah, if you could star in your favorite movie or TV show, which one would you choose and why?
This year I starred in my favorite TV show, Law and Order. So I was definitely on that.
Wait, you were on Law and Order?
Yeah, I was on Law and Order.
No kidding. So Stu Lance is the longtime color commentator for the Lakers, legend. Went all the way back to the days of Chick Hearn, and there's nobody that's a bigger fan of Law and Order. He's seen every episode. What are they? There's SUVs and there's so that's his show. Once he learns this, it's gonna blow his mind.
You got to tell him. I was definitely on there, and my show was in October. I think it aired. So it was.
Did you die?
Law and Order. Nah, I didn't die.
Okay, good. That's good.
I didn't die, but I was definitely that's my favorite show. So I was honored to be able to be on that show.
Tell us more.
Nah, it was a nice little thing. I was a Cleveland Cavalier on the show, right? So a girl had gone missing 10 years ago, and the last time she was seen was in a Cavaliers jersey. And when I was on the Cavaliers, I just kept it in the news, trying to get people to continue to look for her. And at one point, she came back. Somehow they found her. She came back, but at the end of the show, it ended up not being the right girl. So we had a press conference and things like that, and I led the press conference saying like, welcome back party. It was a welcome back party for the girl, and then at the end of the episode, she ended up not being the right girl. So that was a little weird, but I was just happy to be a part of it. I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't care what my role was. I just wanted to always be on Law and Order, and I was able to achieve that.
Where did they film that?
In New York.
Oh, okay,
it was all day too.
I was just saying because if they have a West Coast version,
it was in New York. So
now you got your SAG acting card now?
Yeah. I've been on.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm in LA now, so I might be able to get in some movies now. So.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, you got to.
And Stu is definitely. Actually, Stu's probably already seen it. Were we kidding, right?
He might have. This is a new episode.
All right. IT, what is your favorite thing about being a Laker? Kobe Webner would like to know.
What is it?
What's your favorite thing about being a Laker?
Just being a Laker. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. Like there's only a few teams, whether it be the Celtics, the Knicks, Lakers, and Bulls, that are just like known around the world, well known around the world, and those are the teams everybody, at some point in their life, if they were a big fan of basketball, one of those teams were your favorite teams. And my family, my dad's side of the family is from Inglewood, California, so I was brainwashed into being a Laker fan growing up. So it's always been love. I've always been a fan of the Lakers, and to be able to put on a Laker jersey is everything to me.
Did you get to spend any time in Inglewood in your earlier years?
No, I mean I will always come down here,
okay.
But with my dad and visit. But my dad's the one that knows his way around this place. So
that's his spot. Got you.
Yeah.
Jay Joth would like to know what your favorite restaurant in LA is.
I haven't really been out in LA like that yet. So, but any steak restaurant, I know there's a Morton's around here. They gotta have a Morton's. So Morton's is always good.
Sure.
And definitely a go-to. So.
Well, the gentleman that's shooting this interview, Paul, is a food expert.
Okay.
Not basically all cities, but especially LA.
Oh, I'm gonna need to talk to you, man.
If you need a list, you know, he's behind the camera right there. We'll take care of you. All right, and on the road, he'll go on Yelp, and we'll be in New Orleans, and I'll hit him up and be like, hey, where should I go? And he's like,
I'm gonna definitely hit you up.
It's very helpful. Isaiah, this is from Nicholas. What's your go-to pregame and postgame meals? Keep it up in LA. You doing big things, says Nicholas. And I'll add to that if you can. When you go to the steakhouse, what's your typical order? Like, do you keep it simple? Or?
A ribeye. I like Cajun ribeye with some mashed potatoes on the side with some asparagus.
A little asparagus on the side?
Yeah. But my favorite pregame meal is grilled salmon with mashed potatoes. So anytime I can get that, that's probably a 25 to 30 point game.
Oh. Well, I see you like your mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's good. What do you put? You go heavy on the butter and salt?
No
butter?
No butter.
What?
Yeah, no butter on it. I just keep it plain.
All right. Maybe it's me that's weird. I like a lot of butter.
Nah, a lot of people do.
90s vibes. Why did you choose the number 7?
Because all the other numbers that there wasn't good numbers.
We got some people that have played for the Lakers before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big. I couldn't choose from a lot. So I mean, 7 was, I guess, the best number in that bunch.
Wasn't you Mickey Mantle or anything?
No.
Childhood. Didn't think so. O'Meal would like to know what has impacted you more about the Laker culture, or more or most, I guess, or what have and you addressed this a little bit, but just what have you noticed about actually playing for the team as opposed to maybe what you
it's just always expectations when you play for one of the pillars of the NBA. I mean, you expect it to win, you expect it to be great. They experience so many NBA championships that losing is not an option, no matter what the circumstances are, and that's always good to be around. That's always good to be around, and that's being a Laker. I mean, they have so many great players before me, so many great players that's played in this organization. There's been Hall of Famers, there's been MVPs, so you can't be mediocre here. You got to want to be great, and you got to work towards that, and that's the good thing about being a Laker.
All right, Isaiah, a few questions just about, and you've addressed this before when you first got here, but just about your hip and how you're feeling and your percentages, and so just wondering generally to start, and we can follow up, but where are you at physically, and what's this year been like as you've been trying to get back to where you were?
It's been a steady progress. I mean, it's been slow, but I knew that going in. I knew that it was going to take some time, and it's still going to take time to get back to the level that I'm used to playing at. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, each and every day I am feeling better. Each and every game I'm moving better. I'm feeling better and able to, for the most part, do what I've always done, other than still trying to get the rust off and still trying to get familiar with the new system that I'm in. So all those things take a toll in the progression, but at the same time I am feeling better, and I'm doing everything I can to get back to that level, and I know I will. It's just going to take time.
You know, one of those things you can see on the court, you know what spots you want to get to, yes. Right? And then, but sometimes when you get to one of the spot, that's when I'm wondering if there's if you're at 80% of what your jump was, if even that might make a difference, right, for a shot blocker coming over.
Yeah.
So is that part of what you're talking about?
I am. That for the most part, that is what I'm talking about, and just the ultimate feel for it. Yeah. Like, I was down for so long without being able to play basketball that I got to get that feel back. And some days I feel better than others, and then some days I don't. But at the same time, my power and explosiveness isn't at the level that it once was, but it's getting there, because each and every game, each and every practice, I'm feeling that, and I'm getting there. It just, I know nobody's patient, and I'm not patient as well. So it's frustrating in that sense, but at the same time, each and every day I'm working towards that, and I'm getting there.
Isn't it interesting to think about, because when most people, if anybody has something that's going on, they're not usually doing it in front of a national TV audience, and so it's you. And you want everyone to think that it's you, but you know that it's not quite what you were.
Yeah.
Right? That's got to be a mental challenge, too.
It is, but at the ultimate thing, you got to understand that it's going to take time. I've talked to so many people that's been injured. This is my first time ever having a real serious injury, and all of them say you just got to be patient with your body.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to control what you can, and that's going out there and doing everything you can to get back to that level you were at. But at the same time, your body is going to go as far as your body takes you.
Right.
And I just got to be patient. And I know the time will come because each and every day I see it and I feel it. For the example, like the moves I do and the things I do on the court, like you said, I get to everywhere I want to get to. It's just I got to be able to finish, and I'm getting there.
All right. R2 would like to know, what do you listen to pump you up before a game?
My favorite hip-hop artist is Nipsey Hussle. He's out of Los Angeles, California. So anything Nipsey Hussle, I'm listening to before the game to get me locked in.
What did you listen to growing up in Seattle?
I mean, a little bit of everything. My dad's an LA dude, so Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, all those types of guys.
Sure.
I listened to, headed to the gym with my dad in his car, so.
There you go. Renee Medrano asks, do you pick with the intention? Okay, yeah. Do you pick with the intention of letting them know it won't be easy going through your screen? Does that make sense? Did I say that?
Am I setting the screen?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if I set a screen, I would try to set the best screen to get my guy open, but
yeah.
I'm usually not setting screens. I'm usually somebody setting a screen for me. But I mean, if coach draws some stuff up where I set screens, I try to be one of the best little screen setters there are.
Well, look, that's one thing that's really in Steph Curry's game, right?
Steph is good at it,
right?
And one thing I actually watched film on Steph Curry last playoffs when we were playing the Wizards. They were playing me a certain way. And my thing was, I'm not just going to continue to fight for the ball. I got to get other guys open. And I started watching film on Curry. And it's crazy because Kobe had told me to do that. He had told me to watch some film on Curry, how he sets screens. And,
oh, there you go.
And if you do become a really good screen setter, it's going to open your game up even more. And it did. It did in that playoff series.
Speaking of Kobe, how did your relationship evolve with him?
I've always been a fan. That's been my favorite player. But a few years before he retired, we know mutual people in that I'm signed with Nike, and I asked the person that he knew, could I sit down and talk to him before a Boston game, before we played him, and he was open to it, and we sat in the locker room for about an hour and I picked his brain about a few things, and he talked to me about things, and it was just like, ever since then, like I got his phone number and we just been able to communicate, and especially in the playoffs, throughout the playoffs last season. He had reached out when my little sister had passed away, but then also throughout every game, we would watch film. He would watch film. We'd be on FaceTime watching film together on speakerphone, and he would be telling me what he sees and what I can do and what I can do better to be able to get my team a win. And that was throughout the whole playoffs. And that was special to me because to be able to have Kobe Bryant talk to you and help you out is an amazing, especially for me. That was my favorite player growing up. So our relationship has gotten stronger, and everything he sees, he always at least sends a text message and of encouragement and just whatever he sees on the court to be able to help me be a better basketball player.
That's cool. Give me just one example of the nerdiest basketball nerd type conversation that you might have about, just an observation that he had when you're watching film. What's an example of something?
So I'm a guy that watches a lot of film, and I really watched a lot of film, and I thought what I was watching was the right things. And when we first sat down and watched film last playoffs, he was just going in so much detail of things that I never even looked at on film. And I don't know if I can explain it to you, but it was just like how to set up guys off the ball. Like it might not even be, the play might not even be for me, but it's like how to set your teammate up to get the best shot possible. And I might not even have the ball. So it's little things like that he was just so, it was crazy because I've never even thought about basketball like that. And then when I start thinking about it like that, I would see it before it happened in the game, and I would think, damn, Kobe just really told me that last night. And it was true. And he's like, your job is to make it easier for the rest of your teammates. Don't think your other teammates are watching film as much as you are. But if they aren't, that's not an excuse for you not to be able to help them be the best they can be. So little things like that was like, you understand why he's arguably the best player that ever played again.
When you think of Kobe, and the first thing people think of is, you know, the killer mentality and the scoring and the, you know, cut your throat and all that. But his level of expertise in basketball, I always found that interesting because he took a lot of shots, but sometimes the amount of pressure that can put on the defense, you can allow for the field goal percentage to be a little lower at times, especially late in games.
Yeah.
It's like a philosophical basketball argument. Sometimes you think about the analytics, and it's some people value efficiency to such a great degree, and of course efficiency is very important. But I just wonder, as you watched Kobe and now as you talk to him and you think about it in your own game, how did his approach on the game and on scoring versus passing and setting up teammates, how has that evolved your thinking, if at all?
It's involved it a lot. I mean, I think with him it was a little different because he just felt like his shot was the best shot possible. And he worked that hard to where you couldn't really tell him, okay, that is a bad shot. Like, he's working on all those shots. So one thing that he always just told me is like be a leader, be who you are, but at the same time, don't let nobody outwork you. Because the minute somebody outworks you, that's when they can question whatever you do on the court. And I think I took that and ran with it. I've always tried to be the first guy and last guy in the gym. I always tried to work the hardest because when I do get on a teammate for whatever, they can respect that because they know it's coming from a good place. And I think he's taught me that in that manner, and I've tried to do the best I can to use that for myself.
All right, just a couple more for Isaiah Thomas here on Toyota Voices, partnership with the Lakers for over 41 years. And this question's from Justin. How has adjusting to the Lakers' pace of play impacted your own style?
It's easy. I mean, I like to play fast. I think that plays into my strengths. So it was easy when I got here, when Coach sat me down and was like, we want to play fast. We want to play fast, shoot threes, and move the ball. And that's what I love to do. So in that sense, that was easy for me. That was very easy.
Got a few questions about from some Seattle folks. This one here is just about the jersey retirement that you just had up at UW, and what thoughts were going through your head, and just how that felt, and anything you would want to add about it.
It was everything I dreamed of. I mean, as a little boy, wanting to be an NBA player and wanting to be one of the best players to ever play the game, you always dreamed of getting your jersey retired, whether that is high school, college, or the pros. And for that to happen to me at one of the biggest universities in the United States, it was everything. I mean, I always dreamed of that. So when they broke the news to me and told me that it was happening, it was like, it still doesn't seem real. I mean, because there's only two other jerseys there, Brandon Roy and Bob Hubrick's jerseys that are retired. So to have my jersey retired, that's going to last forever. And when I'm long gone, there's going to be people that don't even know who I am that's going to see that number and that name up there and be like, who was Thomas? And that says a lot about the hard work and dedication that I put in my craft. And that says a lot about the teammates I had, the coaching staff that I had while I was at University of Washington for 3 years. So, I mean, I can't thank them enough for putting me in position to be who I was and putting me in position to be successful. So it's everything to me, and it's still a surreal moment for me.
All right, two more. Bugsy Bigelow says, speaking of the same thing, congrats on the jersey retirement. Pound for pound, Washington Huskies greats, you versus Nate Robinson in an over-the-top arm wrestling contest. Who wins?
Yeah, probably him. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm strong.
It's the first thing you've conceded so far.
Yeah, but arm wrestling, I don't know who I can beat in arm wrestling, and he's a guy that's always in the weight room, always working on his body, so I give him that one.
Okay, you respectfully concede that one.
That one.
All right, last thing. So the NBA in Seattle, you know, a lot of people loved going up there when the Supersonics, of course, before they moved to Oklahoma City. Do you think that that's going to happen sometime soon? Do you think that it has to happen? Is it important?
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to, and it will, I think. I mean, just because even when I got in the NBA, everybody who I talked to always was like, man, we missed that Seattle trip. Like, it was just such a nice city. The fan base is great. You see it with the Seattle Seahawks, with the Sounders, with the Mariners. Like, the fans are everything, and I think hopefully in my career the Seattle Sonics will be back, and I'm able to play in front of friends and family. Not saying playing for the Sonics, but even able to just go back and play in Seattle, because everybody misses Seattle. I mean, even you could talk to a guy like Kevin Durant. I was just on the team with the Cleveland Cavaliers with Jeff Green, who was with the Sonics their last year in Seattle, and he always talks about how special that city is to him. And then even being close with guys like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, it's like everybody's doing whatever they can to get a team back there, and I think it will only be right. I mean, the NBA needs it.
Isaiah, we'll let you go do whatever you do to get ready for tomorrow evening's game. Really appreciate your time. Thanks to Isaiah for answering all those questions, guys, and thanks for sending them all in. This has been Toyota Voices with Isaiah Thomas. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.